Hi, this is Greg Carr, and I've got to put together a little video here about moving some heavy oak trees. You can see this tree fell down beside a rental house, one of my rental houses, on January 3rd, 2021. Interesting start to the year. And I have since cut it up into pieces. I'm going to try to salvage a lot of the bigger diameter materials. The main trunk is over 3 foot in diameter, good 10.5 feet straight stretch, plus 4 feet down in the butt end. So the video that I put together here shows you how I moved it with a truck winch. The main part of the trunk weighs about 5 tons altogether, and the truck winch is a nominal 9,000 pound winch. But how do you lift material? You just can't drag it. This is too heavy to drag. So I used an A-frame, two boards, 4x4s. We'll start out 4x4s, one busted, so I replaced it with a 4x6 that move sideways with the use of the truck and the logging chain or towing chain to simultaneously lift the end of the log and pull it forward. And so I put a video here on how to do that.
Okay, so here it is on a cold February morning. I am pulling this big log out from between the houses where it fell down. And right now I'm trying to roll this log. It's gotten too close to the house, and I'm trying to roll it counterclockwise a little bit. So I have my winch set up, basically kind of wrapped around. Oops. There we go. Just trying to put some torque on it sideways a little bit. Hoping that the chain won't just roll around the log, but that's what it's looking like it's doing. Oh, there we go. Okay, well, it rolled about as far as it's going to go because it's sitting against this other log. But I have accomplished my purpose in that I've rolled it away from the house a bit so I can get my A-brace set up and move it out toward the street. In this big log, and I've got an A-frame set up here with a double line back to my truck winch and a snatch block up the top there. I'm going to basically tighten up the winch, and it's going to lift up the end of the log through the chain. Now, one of the problems is I'm having a hard time getting the far side of the A-frame out far enough, and it's got a bit of interference with the log, and also it logs all close to the house, and I don't want it to mash up the house. So I've taken my logging chain and basically wrapped it around to the far side of the log, hoping that as I lift it, it's going to rotate it a little bit and pull it away from the far side. So it'll torque the log around away from the far side beam. So we'll see what's going to happen. I've got normally a 9,000 pound winch, doubled up 18,000 pounds, which is 9 tons, and this whole thing weighs about 5 tons. So we'll see what happens when I tighten it up. Oop. Well, I came off my brace at the bottom. The ground around here is so soft that you can't just put the posts on the ground. You have to have them laying on a board to keep it from putting post holes into the ground. So I'll reset those and we'll try again. You notice there's a little chain across the bottom of these two A-frames. That's because when you put a lot of force down from the top, since these things are diagonal, it wants to push the legs apart. So you need something to restrain that. Okay, so now we'll tighten it up slowly. Let the cleats on the bottom of the boards dig into the ground. Oh yeah, see, we're moving it. It's rotating the log just like I want. And now it's pulling it. Now, I have a problem. I'm touching right there. It pulled it quite a ways away from the other one. So I'm going to have to readjust my logging chain so it doesn't rotate it quite so much. So we've got our chains readjusted a little bit. I have clearance on my two sides. I have my brace across the bottom. We'll put some tension on it and see what happens. See, my cleats have to dig in. This ground is so soft. There we go, see? Starting to move rather nicely. Okay, so I'm going to set this down. Oh, see, I've got some wood blocks. I left them underneath there. Oh, come on. Oops. Oh well, give myself some more slack here. I may have to lift it back up and get those blocks out from underneath it. Okay, so I've got a little bit of tension off. We'll get that one out. And have to move the other one. Lift of the day, we have our A-frame set on both sides. That one's actually braced against another log. This mud out here is so slippery here in the Tualatin Valley. 1,000 foot of mud and sand down to the bottom. So now we'll tighten it up. This should be the second lift. We get about 6 foot on each lift. So there we go. Okay, well, we slipped off this side, but I'm going to go ahead and keep going. Get my bar out of the way. We'll keep going anyway. We'll see how deep this one post holes itself. Might not be too bad because it does have the little chain to keep it up. Okay, yeah, we're moving just fine. Okay, got a problem, my little. chain is stuck right there. Now we will take and see if we can get this under it. A lot of tension here, but there we go. Leave a lot of it by backing it out again. Okay. Now we'll see what happens. Sorry for all this moving around. I don't have somebody else to take photographs. There we go. And now it's moving over the little chain, moving forward. I'm going to pull my bar out before it gets caught. Move it a few more feet before we got to reposition. Oh, something's rather noisy. What do we got going on here? Well, I'm putting a lot of force on that 4x6, so I think I better quit and see what I can do to relieve that before I break the 4x6. I already broke a 4x4 doing the same thing. So yeah, we'll have to reposition again, but we did get about 5 foot, 5-6 foot, pretty good. All right, again, third and last lift, hopefully. Just going to move it a couple more feet so that there's plenty of clearance on this corner to set up the sawmill, because this one's got to be sawed in place. There we go. Okay, something went ka-thump. I think I'm imagining that this fell off again. Yeah, it did. Last time I did that, it pushed it in. Well, you can see that. Almost 2 feet deep. But I'm not going to quit. I've got so little to go on this. I think I'm just going to go for it anyway. Yeah. All it's doing is post holing that one on the other side. So, okay, I think that'll probably do me for now. I am going to lift it up and see if I can cut the root end, the ball end here off of it with my little chainsaw. But I don't know if I'll have any success or not.
So you saw how I moved that log in about 3 different lifts to get up 5 to 6 feet on each lift. This is not entirely safe. It's not easy. Every time I was using the winch, I stood off to the side. That little cable on the winch is actually a material called Spectra. It has 12,000 pound working strength. Surprisingly strong, but you have to be careful that they don't get worn out. That one's pretty worn. I'm probably going to have to retire it now. But I was able to move the base of this log, as you saw in the video, out toward the street far enough that it can be milled in place with a large chainsaw on a rack. It's called called an Alaska chain saw or chain mill. Anyway, but that'll be done by a contractor. So again, if you want to do this, be careful, be safe. There's a lot of forces involved. I used 5/8 bolts up at the top and that cross brace on some metal plates, and they got all bent up. They're going to have to be cut off with a hacksaw. They can't be unscrewed anymore. But and be careful to think about if you're not using the Spectra, what happens if the cable breaks? Where is it going to fly? I always stood back about 15 feet away from the cable when I was doing the active pulls. So I hope you enjoyed this video. It does show you some of the problems I ran into, the fact that the ground is so soft, you can't just put the posts on the ground. You have to put some sort of braces underneath them, and there's always forces sideways and forwards to move it around. So I hope this helps and enjoy. That's it.